Once they were the faces that made the world stop and stare. A smile, a glance, and hearts fell in love. But time spares no one, and Hollywood, the very place that crowned them goddesses, turned its back when beauty began to fade. Today, we look back at the journeys of iconic women from the 1980s. Not just how their faces changed, but the battles they fought, the choices they made, and the strength they found. Which of them moved you most? Who still glows, and who now shines in a different light? Let's begin. Melanie Griffith, the price of beauty in a city that never lets you age. In the 1980s, Melanie Griffith was America's golden girl, radiant blonde hair, piercing eyes, and a magnetic allure. From body double to working girl, she became more than just a beauty icon. She was the embodiment of the modern woman, bold, ambitious, and impossible to ignore. But fame in Hollywood always comes with a cost. As her career slowed down, Melanie turned to plastic surgery in hopes of preserving the youthful face that once graced magazine covers. But instead of reclaiming her past, the procedures left her with a face that was barely recognizable, no longer the Melanie of her golden days, but a woman marked by personal battles, addiction, and the unforgiving standards of Hollywood. Rather than hiding, Melanie chose to face it all head-on. She openly spoke about her recovery, addressed the toxic beauty ideals in the industry, and recently began embracing a more natural look. In a recent interview, she shared, "I'm done trying to look younger. If there's anything that makes me beautiful now, it's peace." Melanie Griffith's story isn't just personal. It's a wake-up call about the price of perfection and a powerful message to women everywhere. That true beauty isn't about flawless skin or eternal youth, but about owning who you are. Tara Reid, from teen queen to a tragic tale of fame and scars. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Tara Reid was everyone's dream girl. From American Pie to Van Wilder and The Big Lebowski, she lit up screens with her bubbly charm and natural beauty, the kind that didn't need filters or facelifts. But Hollywood is a double-edged sword, and Tara learned that the hard way. In 2004, she decided to undergo liposuction and breast augmentation. What was meant to enhance her image quickly turned into a public catastrophe. A botched surgery left her stomach uneven, her breasts scarred, and her career hanging by a thread. One red carpet malfunction, a slip dress revealing a visible surgical scar, became front-page humiliation. In an industry obsessed with flawlessness, Tara's imperfections became her downfall. Beyond the physical complications, it was the relentless public ridicule, the loss of confidence, and the silent battles with alcohol that truly broke her spirit. But here's the twist. Tara didn't quit. In 2008, she checked into rehab. She owned her story, the surgeries, the pain, the pressure, and she found a voice not as the girl next door, but as a survivor. "Every scar on my body is a reminder of something I've survived," she once said. Today, Tara Reid might not be a blockbuster star, but she is something more real, a symbol of resilience. A woman who rose, fell, and kept walking, proving that sometimes the most inspiring stories come from those who dared to stand back up. Meg Ryan, when America's sweetheart faced the price of staying forever young. There was a time when Meg Ryan's smile was all it took to light up a movie screen and a nation's heart. With her tousled blonde hair, sparkling eyes, and radiant charm, she was the queen of rom-coms. When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, Meg didn't just play love, she embodied it. But what happened to the sweetheart of America? As the years passed and the industry grew colder toward aging women, Meg, like many before her, turned to cosmetic procedures. Rumors swirled, Botox, cheek fillers, a facelift, and soon that familiar face wasn't so familiar anymore. Fans whispered, "That's not Meg." But here's the truth, Meg wasn't trying to become someone else. She was trying not to be erased. In a world where actresses are discarded for looking their age, can you blame her for fighting back? Meg once said, "I don't care what people think I look like anymore. I care about how I feel." She stepped out of the spotlight. No more romantic comedy heroines, no more red carpets. But maybe, just maybe, she's entered the most powerful role of her life. The woman who lives for herself, not for the camera. Because beauty that lasts is the kind that doesn't beg to be seen. It refuses to disappear. Brigitte Nielsen, reinventing power at 54. In the 1980s, Brigitte Nielsen didn't walk into Hollywood. She stormed in. Tall like a warrior, sculpted like a goddess, with an attitude that said, "I don't play by your rules." From Red Sonja to Rocky IV, she wasn't your typical leading lady. She was dangerous, commanding, unforgettable. Her marriage to Sylvester Stallone shocked the world. Her presence owned the screen. Brigitte wasn't just a woman, she was a force. But then came the fall. Alcohol, bad headlines, and an obsession with attention dragged her into a chaotic spiral. She became a fixture on reality TV, her changing face and lifestyle drawing more criticism than praise. The world that once cheered, now jeered. And then, at 54, Brigitte Nielsen gave birth. A photo of her in red, holding her newborn white hair glowing under the hospital lights. It wasn't just a viral moment, it was a declaration. "You said I couldn't. I did anyway." She once said, "They judged me for everything, my age, my face, my choices, but I wrote my own story." And she did. Today, Brigitte Nielsen isn't chasing the spotlight, she owns it. She doesn't ask for permission anymore. She is proof that power doesn't fade with age, it just changes shape. Liza Minnelli, the spotlight. Was the last thing to fade. Liza Minnelli wasn't just born into showbiz, she was born for it. As the daughter of the legendary Judy Garland, Liza didn't walk, she danced into the world. And from the moment she opened her mouth to sing, the spotlight knew it had found its forever muse. Her performance in Cabaret didn't just win her an Oscar, it etched her name in history. She didn't sing with perfect notes, she sang with scars, with truth, with a soul that made every lyric ache. But the brighter the spotlight, the darker the shadows behind it. Liza battled addiction, loneliness, and a rare neurological condition that robbed her of movement and speech. She became the target of cruel rumors about her looks, her surgeries, her decline. But Liza Minnelli never disappeared. Even when she couldn't stand, she sat on a stool and sang her heart out. She once said, "Even when my body fails, my heart remembers the stage." In her 70s, with her iconic jet black pixie cut and piercing eyes, Liza still commands the room. She doesn't chase youth, she embodies grace. She doesn't chase fame, she is the stage. Liza Minnelli reminds us, you don't retire from passion. And if anything defies time, it's the final applause for a soul that never gave up the song. Mickey Rourke, when your greatest weapon becomes a curse. Some people are born rebels. Mickey Rourke was one of them. With those smoldering eyes, razor-sharp cheekbones, and a smile that said, "Don't try to tame me." Mickey wasn't just handsome, he was dangerous, magnetic, untouchable. From 9.5 Weeks to Angel Heart, he didn't play characters, he was the mood. He was dubbed the modern-day Brando, raw, unpredictable, and unforgettable. But unpredictability comes with a price. At the height of his fame, Mickey walked away from Hollywood to become a professional boxer. The result? Crushed cheekbones, a shattered nose, torn facial muscles. So he turned to surgery, saying, "I just wanted my face back." But what he got was a stranger in the mirror, a face pulled too tight, bruised by too many failed fixes. He became tabloid fodder, punchline, meme, but he never hid. He opened up about the failed surgeries, the trauma, the loss of identity, and then, in 2008, the wrestler. He didn't return as the heartthrob. He came back as the broken man, the bruised soul, and it hit home. He won a Golden Globe, earned an Oscar nomination, and reminded the world Mickey Rourke never left. He just came back different. His story is proof that you can lose your looks, your fame, your fortune, but if you keep your fire, you can still light up the screen again. Simon Cowell, when TV's toughest judge faced his own reflection. Simon Cowell was always in control, cold, sharp, unshakable. He could change a contestant's life in 10 seconds with a stare, a smirk, a brutally honest line, but there was one thing even Simon couldn't control: time. As age started to creep in, the man who once dismissed appearance as secondary found himself chasing perfection. Botox, fillers, facelifts, skin tightening. He once admitted, "I used Botox like people brush their teeth. It felt normal." Until one day, he didn't recognize the man in the mirror. Fans were shocked. His face stiff, expressionless, unmovable. Even his young son Eric looked concerned, and that's when Simon Cowell decided to start over. He removed the fillers, stopped the Botox. He turned to healthy eating, clean living, and skincare. Not to become younger, but to become real again. He traded the frozen expression for something better: honesty. He didn't hide the mistakes, he owned them. Because real strength isn't about looking flawless, it's about saying, "Yes, I went too far, and I'm fixing it." Simon Cowell didn't just regain his face, he regained respect, the kind that comes when you show the world you're still learning. Goldie Hawn. When joy became the most timeless beauty of all. If there's one woman who proves that age is just a number, it's Goldie Hawn. Since the 1960s, she brought to Hollywood something rare: a lightness, a laugh, a glow that wasn't about looks, it was about energy. With sparkling eyes, golden hair, and a smile that could heal, Goldie wasn't just a star, she was joy in human form. In Cactus Flower, Private Benjamin, Overboard, Goldie didn't need to act, she just needed to be. And that truth, it reached millions. But even the brightest stars must face the cruel lens of aging in Hollywood. While others chased youth through injections and surgeries, Goldie chose something radical: acceptance. She didn't hide from age, she embraced it. She launched the Hawn Foundation, helping kids manage emotions, meditate, and live mindfully. She opened up about anxiety, her healing journey, and the power of stillness. Goldie once said, "The secret to beauty isn't in avoiding wrinkles, it's in waking up grateful." At 70 plus, Goldie still shines, not because she erased time, but because she refuses to dim her light. Goldie Hawn reminds us, beauty doesn't fade if you keep the glow within. Daryl Hannah, when Hollywood's mermaid chose truth over perfection. In the 1980s, Daryl Hannah wasn't just beautiful, she was magnetic, mysterious, and unapologetically different. From the sweet mermaid in Splash to the haunting replicant in Blade Runner, she was never your typical leading lady. Angel face, rebel heart, Hollywood once celebrated her for her natural beauty. But as the industry shifted, promoting frozen faces and ageless features, Daryl quietly stepped back. No Botox, no fillers, no chasing eternal youth, just wrinkles, simplicity, peace. She once said, "I don't need to be in the center, I just want a life with meaning." And she meant it. Daryl became an environmental activist, fighting pipelines, protecting forests, and even getting arrested for what she believed in. She married musician Neil Young, embraced sustainable living, and disappeared from red carpets, only to reappear in real life. Daryl Hannah sends a powerful message to Hollywood. You don't have to fix yourself to be loved. You just have to be brave enough to be yourself. Kathleen Turner. When the sultry voice became a symbol of strength and self-acceptance. In the 80s, if you closed your eyes and heard a voice that made your spine tingle, it was probably Kathleen Turner. With her raspy, smoky tone and fierce screen presence, she wasn't just a bombshell, she was a force. In Body Heat, Romancing the Stone, Peggy Sue Got Married, Kathleen didn't just play roles, she commanded them. She didn't need saving, she was the story. But time and illness don't play fair. In the 90s, Kathleen was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, a chronic condition that altered her body, her movement, and her career. She gained weight due to medications. She struggled to walk. The media turned on her. She let herself go, they said. But Kathleen didn't hide. She didn't cover up the pain. She didn't chase the past. She owned her transformation. Her voice remained strong, unwavering, and so did her spirit. She returned to the stage, took on bold TV roles like in The Kaminsky Method. More importantly, she became a voice for aging women in an industry obsessed with youth. She spoke about pain, shame, and the unexpected freedom of self-acceptance. Kathleen once said, "I don't need to be who I was. Being who I am now, that's the hardest and most powerful role I've ever played." Kathleen Turner is no longer just the sultry siren of the 80s. She's a symbol of courage in the face of change, pride in imperfection, and a beauty that doesn't beg to be airbrushed. Kelly LeBrock, from perfect beauty to a woman who chose real over glamour. In the 80s, if you asked, who's the most beautiful woman in Hollywood? A common answer would be Kelly LeBrock. From The Woman in Red to Weird Science, she wasn't just attractive, she was fantasy made real. Thick hair, flawless skin, a face sculpted by nature, not surgery. She wasn't just admired, she was idealized. But perfection doesn't guarantee peace. After a tumultuous marriage with Steven Seagal, Kelly quietly stepped away from Hollywood. She struggled with depression, weight gain, and self-doubt. To the public, she had vanished. Rumors swirled, plastic surgery, hiding from age, chasing youth. But the truth? Kelly left the spotlight to find something deeper, herself. Today's photos show a different woman, not the flawless icon of the 80s, but a real one. With wrinkles, with stories, with strength. She once said, "Hollywood may love you for your looks, but when you age, they forget fast. I didn't forget who I am." Now Kelly spends her time giving back, living close to nature, raising her children, and focusing on healing the inside. She no longer needs to be beautiful to be loved. She's beautiful because she chose truth over illusion. Tom Jones, when the voice stayed on fire, even as the years rolled in. There was a time when Tom Jones would walk on stage and the room would erupt, not just for the voice, but for how he made you feel every word like a flame dancing through your chest. From It's Not Unusual to Delilah to Sex Bomb, he wasn't just a singer. He was swagger, soul, and smolder wrapped in velvet, but even legends grow older. Tom's hair turned silver, his once youthful face marked with time. He disappeared from the spotlight for a while. Some whispered, he's done. But the truth? He was becoming something deeper. After the devastating loss of his wife in 2016, his partner of over 50 years, Tom didn't fade away. He came back. Not with dance moves, but with depth. Not chasing youth, but channeling pain into passion. In 2021, at age 80, he released Surrounded by Time. It hit #1 on the UK albums chart, making him the oldest male artist to ever do so. He once said, "I don't need to chase youth. I just need to be honest, and the voice knows where to go." Tom Jones reminds us, greatness doesn't fade, it matures. And when sung from a heart that's lived, a song means something more. Joan Van Ark, when a beloved face became tabloid fodder and grace spoke louder than looks. If you've ever watched Knots Landing, you'll never forget Valine Ewing, the gentle, resilient soul who fought for love and family. And no one forgets Joan Van Ark, the actress whose face defined a generation of women on 1980s television. With piercing blue eyes, golden hair, and a voice that trembled with truth, Joan wasn't just beautiful, she was genuine. No scandals, no gimmicks, just a look, and you felt everything. But then came the shift, the era of eternal youth and the cruel lens of Hollywood. Joan began appearing with a face that looked different, tighter, puffier. Rumors swirled: Botox, eyelid surgery, facelifts, maybe even botched work. Once admired for her softness, she became clickbait for stars who aged badly lists. But Joan didn't fight back. She didn't explain. She didn't defend. She retreated from the noise and leaned into the life she wanted. Stage work, animal rights activism, a quiet existence far from flashing cameras. She once said, "Beauty is the first thing you're given, and the first thing Hollywood takes away." Joan Van Ark may not look like she once did, but she's a reminder that grace isn't. Beauty fades. Time can be cruel. But what makes these women unforgettable isn't their looks. It's their strength, their stories, and the way they carried themselves through it all. They're not just stars of the past. They're living proof of courage, resilience, and rebirth beyond the spotlight. If one of their stories touched you, tell us in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because behind every iconic smile, there's a story still waiting to be told.